and welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess, and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today, and if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend because, it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Okay, everybody, and it's time to jump into the good stuff here because today we are talking about building a 2024 hybrid collaboration roadmap. So it's great when we get to have these specific conversations that dig into the complexities and opportunities within a specific technology. And today is all about AV. So we'll chat with some innovative experts from the media and from leading companies like Nasuni who are here today to share their solutions, their tips, their trends, and their best practices. And I'm excited to be here with you all today to be part of this conversation. I hope you'll all get engaged as well. And speaking of that, I have one last thing to tell you about before we dive into our discussion today. So very quickly, my name is Scott Becker. I'm a moderator here at Actual Tech, and my friends and fellow moderator Keith Ward is here with on live chat, and Jess, who you heard from there at the beginning, is waiting in the wings to interview our wonderful keynote speaker, which we'll get into as soon as we cover one last exciting piece of info here, and that's the prizes. So today on the EcoCast, you could win one of three $300 Amazon gift cards that we'll be giving away to 3 lucky winners who are here present and live with us at the EcoCast. And as just mentioned in the housekeeping chat this morning, you can find the full terms and conditions link in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. Okay, and with that last little thing out of the way, we are ready to go. So up next, I'm excited to introduce our keynote speaker who's been in this industry for a long time, has no shortage of interesting insights to add to our conversation today. That keynote speaker is Cindy Davis, who's content and brand director of AV Technology. So Jess, I know you're waiting in the wings to have a conversation with Cindy to kick things off, so I'm going to step back and hand it over to you. Take it away, Jess.
All right, Cindy, I am so happy to have you back here with us. Welcome to the EcoCast.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right, well, I'm excited to jump into this conversation today because we're going to be talking about hybrid collaboration roadmaps.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. It's a topic that I've been covering, honestly, forever. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's been around forever.
Yeah. Okay. So, Cindy, I have a confession that I have to make for you before we jump into our keynote here, because I do not like hybrid beanies. I just don't. I don't love the hybrid work model. I'm not a fan.
Right. What is it that you don't like?
Okay, I think it's the sitting in a meeting room and you've got 2, 3 people that are on one camera, and so they're all far away. You can't see anyone's faces. They're sharing one microphone, so you can't hear anyone. I just don't like that experience. I'd rather have like a face-to-face virtually than have that hybrid.
So first, the face-to-face virtual is hybrid. It's just not the best experience. And neither is exactly what you talked about. The 2 or 3 people or more on one camera, one microphone. You can't see anyone, you can't hear anyone, and you certainly, God forbid, try to really collaborate, because collaboration is not just about the conversation. It's about ideating. It's about sharing content and working together on that content. So the hybrid collaboration is so much more than this. We were just used to doing this for such a long time.
Okay. I can feel you winning me over. I'm on board, but I'm going to ask you a few questions. We're going to see if you can bring me all the way through to being a pro hybrid. Talk to me about a collaboration roadmap. What is it, and why is it important?
So I think truly a collaboration roadmap is critical, because if you haven't embraced the fact that your company is going to be hybrid, well, maybe your company's not going to be hybrid. So go to the next webinar.
Get out.
Get out of here. But honestly, every report that I've been reading, and anybody can Google it, hybrid's here to stay for, it's all over the board. Some companies are saying, okay, one day a week you can work from home, 2 days a week you can work from home. I think one of the issues is CEOs aren't trusting productivity levels. So whatever issues are there, I think it's a management issue, to be honest. But I think the bigger issue is there's just exactly what you said. The tools are not there. You have to give people the tools to be successful. In order for a collaboration space, in order for a collaboration space to be successful, it has to have all the tools. And that includes cameras. First, audio, because you can turn off our cameras and we can still have a meeting with just audio.
Sure.
Right. But you can't have that meeting if it's, a bunch of people in a room. You won't be able to, you don't know. So it's audio, really good audio with beamforming microphones that can get the whole room. Just one or two people that are speaking. And then there's PTZ cameras. Actually, what I'm talking about, AI has already started to impact these meeting spaces. So the speakers and cameras can talk to each other. AI, they work together. So you can have a PTZ camera that can focus or follow a couple people that are in the room. So the camera's not on me when this person back here is speaking. It's going to pick up the person that's back here speaking. The audio, the speakers and microphones are going to focus. You're going to be able to really zoom in on the people who are speaking that aren't just doing side chats. Displays are such a huge part of this as well, because if you truly want to collaborate, it's not, there's plenty of meetings that are just talking, but collaboration really is about the ideation process as well. So having displays strategically around the room, we can actually see the work that each other's bringing to the table. So you can really collaborate that way. And that's, that ideation process.
I think that's so important, Cindy, because a lot of what you're touching on is something that I talk to with folks a lot about events. Virtual events are not live events that you've just put on video or into a webinar platform. They have to be planned differently. They have to be approached differently. So what I'm hearing and slowly coming around to with hybrid, and you're right, for anyone out there that's thinking that their organization isn't going hybrid, if you have an international workforce, if you have meetings internationally, then you are doing this hybrid collaboration model. And if you just take a meeting and put a camera in the center, or sign one laptop onto Zoom, you're not creating a collaborative environment. So what I'm hearing from you, Cindy, is that there's a little bit of research and forethought that needs to go into how you're planning for this collaborative environment when it's hybrid versus when you have an in-person space.
And that, what you do, research is important, but there's so many people, organizations, firms that do this for a living, of course. Engage with a really good workplace designer, engage with a really great integrator, that this is what they've been doing forever. They are most up to date on the technologies, and they're going to sit down and listen to you. And this is where it's also really important to bring in the other stakeholders within your organization. Don't just assume, okay, well, we need 20 meeting rooms. Let's just put in 20 meeting rooms, call them collaboration rooms, and put in these 5 pieces of equipment. Yeah, it's really it's individual to each organization, the type of work you do. So it's really important to get those people involved. So employees, facilities, and HR, because this is entirely different than what it used to be. This is not your father's or meeting space. And facilities, the furniture is really different. It's not a rectangle. It's not a rectangular table anymore. IT, of course, because all of these devices are IP enabled. They are on the network. They should be on the network. If you want to reach anybody outside, it's IP enabled, right? So security, of course, with anything that's on the network, they have to be involved. Manufacturers, here's a misnomer. So AV equipment, people assume is not safe because of all these open ports. You know, these manufacturers have been working on this for years. They have been working with security teams. They're certified. Many of them are certified. You know, all kinds of certifications for security. So talk to the manufacturers. They will tell you um, how their products are certified. And of course, the AV department, you know, they're the ones who understand how sound in a room works. And they've been installing these rooms for such a long time. Get them involved. Get them involved early.
Yes, early. That's the big key. Don't wait until you've ordered everything and then ask the advice of experts. So I'm hearing, and as we kind of went through this, and I have to say, Cindy, I'm genuinely feeling a little bit sold, a little more sold. We'll see. I'll check in with you at the end of the whole session too, but a little more sold on this because I do think that you're right with it's planning and forethought. So the collaboration roadmap is sort of putting in the care and attention. So it's all levels of the organization being aware of what you're trying to get out of it and where you want to get to, and what your purpose is. You know, and if collaboration is a part of that purpose, then investing in the tools and technology that are going to enable that purpose, rather than just saying, like I did at the start of this doesn't work, and you know we won't be productive if this happens. So avoiding the Jess bias and instead stepping into more of a strategic approach, doing some research, pooling, you know, expertise from external sources, as you mentioned, or potentially, you know, and really chatting with all the key stakeholders within the company, and then making sure that you have the right technologies. Have I kind of hit the major pieces here?
I think so. I think so. Plan for it. Plan for it.
That's it. Great. Well, we just created a strategic roadmap between the two of us. That's well, great. I really appreciate you being here to kick us off today. I think you've given us a lot to kind of think about. I hope that for folks out there, you've been taking notes and have some ideas and ways that you want to jump in on your own strategic roadmap to creating that hybrid collaboration. And now we're gonna jump into our very first session and get some insight into some of the technologies and innovations that could maybe help with this.
Great. I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Thanks again, Cindy.
All right. Yeah. Thanks to Jess and Cindy for that awesome chat. So many great takeaways and just a perfect way to kick off our day here today. We do have a poll up for you. What is your time frame for adding new or updating existing IT solutions at your company? So love it if you could fill that out. The options there are less than 6 months, 6 months to a year to 2 years, and not sure. So the responses are rolling in. And the some of those things that Cindy was talking about were really interesting. Just the technologies that I didn't know existed, as far as, you know, the mics focusing in on people, you know, to make sure that they're getting, you know, the maximum audio experience for people who are remote. You know, I'd obviously heard about cameras doing that, but also, you know, following the speakers. Really exciting stuff that's out there, and using AI like everything else is using AI these days. Really great discussion there. Okay, well, thanks to everybody who has filled out the poll. It looks like it's a really even split. You know, the big winner is not sure. About a third of you aren't sure on your time frame, but other than that, it's almost dead heat, you know, for the three other time frames. So thanks so much for filling that poll out. We do really appreciate it. Okay, well, now it's time for our next presentation in the 2024 Hybrid Collaboration Roadmap EcoCast. And this session comes from Nasuni, and presenting for Nasuni is Virali Patel, who's Senior Product Marketing Manager over there. So I'm going to turn things over to Virali.
So remote and hybrid work has been there for a while. I want to chat explicitly about the file access and the challenges that come with it. I think until now, a lot of businesses have tried to address these challenges with stopgap measures that have negatively impacted IT resources and have kind of fueled overall IT complexity. So with that, what we had done recently, we partnered with ESG and we kind of had some survey that came out of their research. And I thought this is a great way to start if it resonates with the audience. Do you see somewhere in these lines where you fit in with your complexity in your IT environment? So some of the biggest reasons that IT environment today is having complexes is concerns when it comes to the remote and hybrid work. There's definitely challenges with cybersecurity landscape, and they also want to increase, or they have increased their endpoints and they cannot really manage the environment around it. So I thought this was a great way to start in the complexity of our IT infrastructure and teams that might be facing in their environment around. So why am I talking a lot about this? Well, Nasuni is a file data infrastructure company at its own. And what we've uncovered in the last few deep dives with remote and hybrid work is some of the biggest hurdles that companies are trying to address. What we've seen at a fundamental level, the culprit behind IT complexity is often the sheer volume of disparate technologies that are large and that different organizations have kind of adopted. The typical enterprise can often leverage a wide variety of different platforms and point solutions to access and share data. Now, the challenges of these solutions are not interoperable. Sometimes the traditional ones are often siloed and result in data backlogs or data blockage, if I might call it that, where they just have no visibility and have limited control. And while contributing to data sprawl and adding to overall cost and complexity, they have VPN issues and bandwidth latencies as well. I think I heard that in the previous presentation itself, that VPN people want to get off it. That's something that we've heard a lot as well. And all of this kind of impacts the end user productivity and experience on a nutshell. So that's kind of what we've seen as IT hurdles. They want to consolidate the siloed data. They want a solution that's scalable. What pandemic forced us to do was adopt a bunch of solutions off an end, and they worked at that point 5 years in, 3 years in. We're realizing it's not the best value out of it. Security is something that we've heard that's something that companies are definitely concerned about. And they just want to make sure that the users have access to the data that they want to have access to. Like, these seem pretty straightforward, but these are recurring themes that companies are still trying to address holistically. So talking about files, here's an interesting data that we found, that file shares are everywhere and they hold up to 80% of the company data. And they're spending anywhere up to 50%, which goes into shadow IT, which is a big chunk when you're trying to cut corners or you're trying to be more productive or efficient with your IT spending itself. So now, what is Nasuni? Well, this is where Nasuni really comes in as, well, I work for the company, of course, as benefit, but this is where I really think that Nasuni addresses the key challenges that businesses have. Nasuni straight and cut to the core, and we've realized that what we provide and what companies really want is that effortless scalability. I think scalability on demand is something that IT teams often require and are trying to navigate and have challenges with. So Nasuni was found on the basis of addressing some of these key challenges. It was born in a cloud architecture. So it's something that been designed to work in the cloud. So whether you're on-prem, off-prem, or trying to get on cloud, Nasuni helps you bridge your data and connect it into the environment that you want to see fit in. And then how do we address this all? It's with our scalable, secure, and extremely high performant edge performance that we deliver for our customers. So scalability, what I would say is that with Nasuni, you get that effortless scale. You can provision SMB or NFS file shares on demand in any location, add any amount of capacity, support a number of users, and manage it all through a single pane of glass. Security, you get you get immensely secure data platform where you could recover data within minutes of recovery points. You can recover petabytes of data in seconds, and we have an integrated ransomware protection solution then make sure that you don't really have to think about backup and DR. I think what we've heard customers recently say with Nasuni is it's you change something, you change nothing for the end user. It's that effortless where end users don't even realize that their entire backend has been changed the day after it's been installed itself. And that's the piece with the edge performance. You get high speed read write performance at the edge, whether you're on-prem, off-prem, any remote location around. We kind of make sure that your apps and devices are connected and your data is accessible seamlessly throughout. So when it comes to remote and hybrid work environment itself, Nasuni, yes, we house your data, but we've also factored ways where we can deliver file access. And this is a snapshot of ways that we kind of aim to do that. So we have a file sharing platform called Access Anywhere, which basically ensures that your files are easily accessible with your external parties. We have file acceleration capability that makes sure that you could accelerate your files and share them within seconds and minutes as opposed to hours that sometimes customers have been waiting. VPN-less access, the VPN is definitely something that's been a big pain for customers throughout. So that's something that Nasuni and its entire bucket of product portfolios addresses and tackles these challenges for your businesses itself. Now, I'd love to dive into some of the capabilities that our Access Anywhere solution with Nasuni provides. What we have is a TLS enforced security platform where you can bridge in as many remote locations you have. We have customers where they have off-rig oil shows. They're in the middle of nowhere. There are photographers on site where they don't have remote activity, don't have connectivity, but kind of can loop in and get access with our platform and have access to their files through different modes of technology on their hand. You don't need VPN, or you can always keep VPN if you need as per your company policy. So it's really flexible in those terms, and it makes sure that you're not bottlenecked by your limited bandwidth capacity or network latency. That is a big issue for remote and hybrid work in general. So this is something that I personally use, and I've heard great pieces around it, is the external file sharing. Now I'm sure a lot of you now. What are the ways that we share content right now? Well, if you're really old school, you'll have an FTP clunky protocol that takes forever to share your information. We've had customers where they manually ship petabyte or terabytes of data via hard drives on locations just so that they can make sure that it's secure. And then we have emails, which we've all known gets lost, and there's always a proliferation of data when it comes to these platforms. Or the third case, which gives IT nightmares, is when you take these endpoint solutions and they have no visibility, and that's where the risk of shadow IT really gets amplified. And that's when Asuni's kind of adopted this tier where it gives you access from that single source of truth for your data. It's that data lake that you have. You can share your content with external or internal collaborators. It doesn't leave the platform. So imagine you don't have to worry about file size limits. You don't have to worry about duplication of your files. You do not have to worry about different multiple file versions that come in when you send one copy, receive another copy, edit, send, edit again, and that entire loop that comes in with collaboration that sets bottleneck. And then for IT itself, we've permissions, IT can govern your file sharing experience. You can set expirations, you can limit downloads, you can unshare content that you share, which is pretty cool in my opinion. You don't need to share that content with anybody any longer. You could just delete the link and you have control over your content throughout. And that's kind of what security is. I think Sony's devised this with security in mind. We authenticate the users that are at the end. You have integrations with AD, the LDAP, SAML. Two-factor authentications are honored throughout. We have an entire audit log that makes sure you can trace behavior of the file from the time it was created, the time it was shared. You can even go back if you have requests around where did this file go. You can trace that back with our audit logs. And then security at its finest. I think file sharing policies are governed. We have watermark capabilities to ensure that files are not leaked outside and compromise the data integrity at its whole. And then here's a snapshot of what an IT person can handle from their end. We can give complete autonomy to what kind of file sharing experience customers want to set for their end users, which is pretty powerful, assuming it's all within a single platform. And then the other piece that's really exciting about Access Anywhere is the file transfer acceleration piece that we have. We had a customer who told us before they adopted this piece that it took them almost over 2 hours to share something, which now literally takes them half the time to share in a matter of like just with a drag and drop feature from their web piece itself. So we've really optimized the way that large file sharing takes place. I think if you have files such as AutoCAD, media, you're well aware of how tedious the process is. Indeed, performance sometimes is so bad. We have teams who go on site and then make sure that they download and upload the content they need. And then they go home to work on those files and come again the next day to make sure that it's uploaded and it's kept in sync. So these are some of the workflows that Access Anywhere kind of streamlines to provide you that high performance edge at your office environment or at your remote environment, no matter where you are. And those are kind of some of the pieces that Nisuni's designed our products to fit the needs for your remote and hybrid work environment as such. On a closing note, what we've heard and what we've seen is that users need access to all appropriate corporate data. Now, whether they are on-site or off-site, whether they are in between a transition or whether they're just not wanting to work around, I think that uniformity of experience is something that that end users are kind of struggling with, and we're hearing from our IT leaders coming up to us and asking ways to mitigate that. I think the ideal solution is something that ensures that end user experience is non-disruptive while simultaneously providing better performance and security without compromising governance for all the corporate file data, which is kind of what IT wants, is data silos. You want to make sure they're consolidated. You want to make sure the right people have access to the right data. And that's when Asuni's put in considerable energy in providing a way for organizations by offering a single source of truth, regardless of their corporate file data size, data limits. The users can have access to their data. IT teams, in the meanwhile, have a solution that's easier to manage and is scalable. And it all kind of provides that better control, visibility, and cost reduction in the long term, which is very important with scalability. With that, any other thoughts or any questions that the teams might have? I'm happy to take some questions. If you want to learn more about Nisuni, please reach out at nisuni.com. Our team's always happy to grab on a call. You can request a demo as well if needed.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And we're going to get into some questions because we got a lot of great questions coming at you. But before we do, I'm just leaving this link up for a second here because I want everyone to click on that. But I'm just going to move over to the poll. And so again, this is the poll. We've always said poll, but I'm really feeling like that's the wrong word. It's the shopping list. This is your wish list. What would be helpful for you to hear back from Nisuni? What additional information would you like? So think about what would be helpful for you. What is the best way for you to learn or pass information on to your team? And click on that poll and let Nisuni know how they can follow up with you. While you guys are doing that, we are going to dive into some audience questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Let's start with this one here, Virali, because this actually came up a couple of times for folks wondering about integrations. We talked about it a little bit in our last session as well. So in particular, Microsoft 365 always, comes up, but can you talk to us a little about what kind of integrations are going to play well with Nisuni?
Oh, so Microsoft 365 is actually our partner as well. So when I talk about file access, we integrate with the entire Microsoft Office tool. Teams is another platform that we partner with. So if you're a Teams user in your Teams environment, you can have Nisuni, you have access to those files, and directly you're kind of not disrupting that workflow itself. So we're highly integratable with Microsoft Teams, when it comes to office applications, when it comes to certain applications that you're using. The Suni at a core level is compatible with almost all of the applications that major industry sections would be needing for.
Perfect. Okay, and actually we got a follow-up question that I think dovetails really nicely onto that, wondering how does Nasuni facilitate the integration of its solutions with an organization's existing IT infrastructure and applications?
Well, that's an interesting one. So, of course, we have an entire team of SAs that would make sure that we understand what kind of IT infrastructure you're looking for. So, at a fundamental level, if you're on-prem versus off, if you're looking to move to the cloud or you have on-prem infrastructure, Nasuni is very compatible. We are a hybrid platform, so we support both of those ends as needed. We also partner with the leading cloud providers. So Amazon, AWS, Google, they all are channel partners. We work with them to ensure that our product is compatible with those buckets itself. And then in terms of infrastructure, as I said, it's pretty versatile. It's not very friction. It doesn't induce any friction for the end users, and it works across the globe. I think we've had our IT teams cater the data lakes depending on the user's environment. So if you have if you have sites across the globe, you have a multi-site or uni-site location itself, our infrastructure is solid enough to facilitate that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really important, that global reach. And for a lot of organizations, it's so complex with different styles of workforce and then across different countries. Question here, wondering about storage. So is there a limit on storage, or is it dependent on what plan you sign up for? And then Greg says cloud storage can become an ever increasing project and price tag. So how does that work?
Well, we have a pricing strategy for core Nasuni tier base. So of course there's certain bands that we choose, and then you upgrade and you move around according to that. So I would say it's a tiered pricing, but pretty competitive. It's much more robust, and I'm happy to vouch with some of the customers that we have on board. Would be happy to have a discussion and let them be the voice of how it's worked for them when it comes to pricing and storage growth and scalability, which is a question that a lot of customers have.
Yeah, and it sounds like there'd be an opportunity to work with your team on, do we actually need this higher band, or can we be more efficient with what we've got, and that's really great. And follow-up question here. Let's see: is there a contingency or alternate plan for any data that has been compromised? Yeah, and then Greg especially says ransomware.
Oh well, ransomware is also. We definitely have one of the best disaster recovery platforms that I've seen across. Ransomware is definitely something that it's one of those things where you don't need it until you need them, but we have one of the most robust ransomware protection add-on services, and something that we really qualify for. We have snapshot retentions, which makes sure that even a minute of your data is not lost. Like 15 minutes was the lead time we had last time. So imagine if your site is hit with ransomware, if you're backed up in a way that you're recovering every few minutes, you wouldn't lose that ounce of data, which is pretty powerful when it comes to terabytes of data that's at jeopardy.
Jeez. Yeah, that's so important. And I love what you said, you don't need it till you need it. And I think and I hope we've convinced everyone now that they should get it and need it before they need it. But yeah, then you're feeling you're sailing through when it happens, rather than in a mad panic and scramble. But yeah, that sounds like a really great system. I'm going to try to squeeze in one more question here before we start to wrap up. Are there access permissions and role-based access control within Nasuni file sharing system?
Yes, so we adhere to the Active Directory permission setting. So whatever infrastructure you're right now following, you get to decide the permissions and the ways that you want to govern that. When it comes to the file access that goes into the nitty-gritties, you have additional end user privilege, but at the same time, it honors the Active Directory set by your organization.
Awesome. Okay. I love that. That's a great system. And I do want to point out that Greg, who had asked a couple of those questions, chimed in and said, great answers. So thank you so much for that. Virali, before we start to wrap up, for anyone out there that is feeling really excited and wants to jump in with Nasuni, and there's clearly quite a few out there. What would you recommend as kind of the first step for getting to know you?
Well, I think feel free to reach out on the website, request a demo, or get on a contact us page, and we are more than happy to like connect with the audience itself or with the prospects that we have. I think the website would be the best place that I would suggest you go and just request a demo or a conversation with our sales team.
That's awesome. Okay, and we do have a handout for everyone out there, and that's the Enterprise Strategy Group Nasuni Remote Work white paper. So there's a really, really great takeaway from our conversation here today, looking at the specific challenges of remote and hybrid work and how that could be addressed with the Nasuni File Data Platform. So that is a great paper to download and read through. It's, I think, like 3 or 4 pages long. So it's a relatively easy read and jam-packed with information. Virali, thank you so much for being here with us today. You know, before you take off, I'm just going to ask, because you're our grand finale, so I'm putting you on the spot here. If you had one takeaway that you wished everyone in the audience would kind of walk away thinking about, whether it's an action step or a question they're asking themselves, or, you know, a resource or something, what would you want that kind of one key thought or takeaway to be?
With regards to the topic itself, or with regards to Nasuni?
I mean, hey, whatever you've got, Nasuni, yeah, whatever pops into your mind.
Well, you know what? I love the topic that we're in here today, which is remote work. And what I would take away is that it suddenly accelerated a different set of challenges for customers. And what I would request or take away is that look at your vendor, choose an option that is more of partner for long term and not for those point solutions. And I think the pandemic was a perfect example where we adopted a lot of different things and not really carved out the growth for it. That's one question, one takeaway or suggestion, irrespective of whichever vendor or solution that companies are embracing. But it's really come down to that scalability and growth, which is much more important now that we're going in with all the hiccups than before. Like, that's one takeaway that I would share.
That's a great takeaway, because I think, you know, one thing that maybe we're seeing is to your point, when COVID hit and everybody changed quickly, we sort of just jumped into things, right? Like, we just needed fast solutions. And now we need to reshift that mindset. You know, we might still be a little more reactive rather than proactive. And I think, you know, what I'm hearing from you, or what I sort of struck me about that, was a suggestion to think proactively and think strategically, and really be careful about the partners, or selective about finding the right partners for you, which I think is great advice. And you've certainly made a great argument for Nasuni being one of those partners. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you being here with us today. It has been so much fun chatting with you.
Thank you.
All right, and thanks for handling that Q&A, Jess. And some of you noticed that we didn't get the poll up when we meant to, but hopefully you can all see it now. Just technical gremlins. Appreciate your feedback on additional resources that you'd like to see from Nasuni. And so we'll leave that poll up for a little bit. It has all kinds of options in there for things that you can get from Nasuni: data sheet, technical white paper, customer case study, pricing details, personal demo, if you'd like to try it yourself, or if you're already a customer. And feel free to click as many of those things as you'd like. So it looks like we had some more questions here that we can't get to right now, but Virali and the Nasuni team will do their best to respond to all these questions later. We'll get them all over to those guys. And I'd also like to remind you all just about the handouts. We've got that PDF from Nasuni that Jess was talking about during the Q&A. It's a great ESG report, so be sure to check that out if you'd like some more detail. And thanks to everybody who's responding to the poll. I see all those answers rolling in. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your feedback there. And I'll just leave it up here to give everybody some more time to make sure you've been able to mark off all the resources that you wanted to, since we did have a little delay in getting that up here. And leaving it up there while we move on to our prize drawings for the day. So as we said up front, we've got 3 separate $300 Amazon gift cards to give away right now here in the month of December when everybody needs gift cards for gifts. So our 3 winners are Marcia Johnson from Alabama, Anthony Jones from Tennessee, and Nick Gall from Oregon. So congratulations to Marcia, Anthony, and Nick. We'll be in touch about claiming your prizes. Well, I've learned a lot today about hybrid collaboration. I hope you have too. We got great insights into hybrid collaboration technologies in the keynote there from Cindy at the beginning. And we learned a lot about requirements and solutions for hybrid collaboration that can be enabled by a file data platform from Nasuni. And again, if you'd like more information, do grab the PDF in your handouts. Okay, and if you're on the webinar today and you would like to chat with us about presenting on a future summit, EcoCast, or MegaCast, we would love to hear from you. Just reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com. Oops, sorry, I had the wrong slide up there. That email again is connect@actualtechmedia.com. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank all of you for attending and asking some great questions. I had so much fun with you guys all today talking about some of these specific opportunities and challenges when we talk about AV technologies and especially hybrid collaboration. And before you take off today, be sure to mark your calendars and come back to join us. So on Thursday, which is tomorrow, we've got an EcoCast on selecting the right SaaS backup tool. It's going to be a great session with Rubric and Haiku. I'm really looking forward to it. We hope to see you there. Okay, well, we hope to see you all either tomorrow or in future events. And until then, have a fantastic rest of your day.